At Chris Kehler Holistic, we demonstrate real healing and real caring to your health issues and needs. Our solution for you is an alternative to the alternative. Our out-of-the-box treatment methods are aimed to your specific well-being and are quite different than most. Venturing down the realm of quantum energy healing, Chris uses unique modalities of healing, such as spiritual intervention with pendulum dowsing, sacred geometry tools such as the neutralization, divinity, and sun ring. Another tool Chris uses is a 5-tiered pyramid affectionately known as the Silver Light Pyramid to activate quantum activity within the body. Also, Chris Kehler Holistic uses radionic technologies in various platforms with specific liquid mineral ionics to balance out excesses and deficiencies within the body. At Chris Kehler Holistic, our goal is to get tangible and measurable results in the least amount of time possible so you can carry on with what's important in your life. Another advantage to this unique energy healing is that it can be done at a distance healing session. So location is not a barrier and can be done conveniently at your home, office, just about anywhere through Skype or telephone conferencing. Eliminate costly protocols, expensive monthly supplements, high-priced allopathic operations, invasive surgeries, and dubious medication applications that keep you trapped in a financial and health rat race. Get a specific, customized, out-of-the-box solution tailored for your health recovery. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we are warm welcoming and want to put you at ease with your visit to us. Please visit www.chriskehler.net for further information as we welcome your questions and inquiries to starting this unique journey. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we want to show you that we are the alternative to the alternative and the out-of-the-box solution to customize an answer for you to spend less and gain more in your high vibrancy journey. Visit www.chriskehler.net. Real healing and real caring to your health needs.
I would like to introduce to you tonight to his show, Mr. Chris Kehler.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
I went to Jamaica a couple of weeks ago.
I'm saying, what did you do? I mean, your body must have had some kind of shock when you got back.
Well, actually, this weekend I'm going to be in San Diego for the weekend.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I have a sister in San Diego. We're going to go visit. I'm going to do a bike tour of San Diego and do a pub crawl in San Diego. So it sounds like a lot of fun to me.
I'll spread your picture around out there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I haven't done so much traveling in such a short amount of time in a long time, so it's nice to get out.
Don't worry. It'll be in every post office.
We had a blast in Jamaica. There's about 30 of us there for a wedding, and it was just nonstop hollering and hooting, and it's legal in Jamaica.
Yeah, I was going to say, yep. Oh, yeah.
Now, in the world of energy, everything is always changing, and I keep on talking about all the changes within the vibration of the planet, vibration within ourselves, and all the new things that are coming up, the shifting of dimensions and consciousness. What I've been finding lately a lot of people are connected to Dulce Base in New Mexico. And Dulce Base is, for those who don't know, it's a large underground base where they house a lot of extraterrestrials, and there's a lot of covert military activity happening from that base. And when I had Sergeant Dan McBolin III on my show a couple of times, we did talk about that base, and he said he did work within it and actually was kind of close and up front with a bunch of ETs. So I'm finding that these people are connected to this base, and they're doing experiments etherically on these people, and when I disconnect them from that base, all of a sudden they feel better. And with my work, the proof is in the pudding. If you make an intent and things happen, they feel better, then you know there's some validity to it. So that has been huge. And today, two people I worked with were connected with that base, and it was really interesting. The results we got, it certainly made a difference. Another big one. Chemical reactions within our body is something that happens every day. It's a natural process. But two specific chemical reactions I'm finding are pretty big, and that is the chemical reaction between the nutrient boron within our body and Teflon. When these two things are in a certain levels within your body, there's muscle pain, there's joint pain, there's different issues happening within your body. So that has been a real big one. So if you're following the work I'm doing and always waiting to hear the newest and the best, that's one of the big ones. Teflon, boron combinations. And I think I commented on boron at one time, and somebody said, yeah, but boron's a nutrient. We need that. But it's more so that the chemical reaction between the two. That has been huge. And just the consciousness level is getting bigger and bigger, and I'm able to find more things and just dig up more stuff and help people on much different levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, and so on into the dimensions and universes. Now, our guest tonight, I was reading her bio. It feels like I'm reading my own bio almost. We're pretty close in modality and in thought. Our guest tonight is Holly M. Cook. Let me read her bio for you, and you can understand what I'm saying. Holly M. Cook of Sacred Heart Ascension helps people get to the heart of what's weighing them down by using ancient multidimensional clearing technologies to uplift people into true empowerment and emotional freedom. Many of her clients seek Holly for deep-rooted ancestral traumas that need to be cleared through the DNA, inner child work, soul retrievals, entity extractions, and to free themselves of mental slavery. Becoming liberated from negative programming is the key to moving forward. Our bodies are no different than computers when it comes to programming. What we sense or take in through our eyes, ears, and energy field immediately can program a negative or positive outcome in our entire energy body system. Negative programs will eventually manifest into the physical, causing health problems or dis-ease. Holly is a huge advocate of alternative healing and believes that most prescribed medications are not needed, and that through reprogramming the belief system, we can gain back our health, mental well-being, and joy. We can now quantum leap and clear our karma by clearing our DNA. Holly has worked with the Quiro of Peru, Michael Harner's Shamanic Institute, Ancient Crystal Skulls, Rainbow Czar E.T. Skull, and the Dolphin Clan. She has been a CMT since 1998 and has studied crystal healing, Reiki, Theta healing, and attends many conferences to keep up her knowledge. Her website, www.sacredheartascension.com. Please welcome to A Quantum View, Holly Cook. Hello, Holly.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Well, now, reading that bio, I mean, this pretty much seems like I'm looking in a mirror as to your philosophy and where you look to help people with health issues. And it's a pleasure to have you on, my dear.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, it all comes down to energy. I mean, That's all it is. It's so simple. Yet we remain so programmed.
Where I look in the programming, I look at the consciousness as our desktop. Subconsciousness is all these programs running in the background that can influence the speed of our computer. For you to say that our bodies are like computer, it certainly does resonate very highly that what you're doing is very vital for humanity. How'd you get into this, Holly? What happened?
I come from, can you hear me okay?
100%.
Loud and
beautiful,
clear.
Thank you. I come from a long, long past of illness and depression. I grew up completely, I had stomach issues, depression. I was bullied. I would get tonsillitis all the time. I was a very, very sick person up until my 30s. And I'm 44. I have completely turned that around, and I did not turn it around until I found shamanism. So I was on Prozac, I was on Wellbutrin, Trazodone, I tried all this different stuff. I was in and out of counseling. I was diagnosed with manic depression, the whole everything. And after I found shamanism, it was a long haul, but I have turned everything around. Life is great, and we're all meant to be here thriving. So when I started to heal through the shamanic arts, I had to jump on the bandwagon because I know there's a lot of people out there that were in my shoes. And that's how I got on board with it.
So you basically had your awakening, and you just felt that you have to go with it and take it to the highest level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And once I was able to grasp the concept of how we really are energy and how negative energy manifests in the third dimension right through our bodies into an ailment, it's like, wow, once you start working on that original imprint, everything else starts to shift. For me, myself, and for my clientele out here on the West Coast, I've been able to help people get through pain. Well, it's they're doing the work. I'm just the facilitator, but I've been able to facilitate people getting out of pain, out of sickness, relationship changes, and off medication. And I am big on being pharmaceutical free.
I will not go to a doctor. If I got a headache, I'll live through it and I'll find out what's causing it and zap it out before I start taking kind of pharmaceuticals. I mean, pharmaceuticals are okay if they're going to keep you alive for a little while until you can figure out the problem. As to something to live on, we all know that it's just going to cause more and more issues within your body. All of the things that follow taking pharmaceuticals is just not a good idea. We all know that. Now, you mentioned the word imprints, implants. Ron Armatron is a big advocate of removing the implants. Why do we need to erase negative energy imprint in order to move forward in our lives?
So, to me, an imprint is different than an implant.
Okay.
I guess they could be the same, but I have had people who have had abductions, alien abductions, and who do have physical implants come to me, and I refer them to one of my colleagues who is very high up in MUFON. So I refer all those people to her. But for me, the implant comes from a trauma that's happened in this dimension, or an imprint that has been passed through the DNA. So I work on more of the levels of soul retrieval, entity extractions, yes, but soul retrieval and the karmatic pieces that have been bleeding through from past lives, or, like I said, the DNA imprints. And it's amazing, and I'm sure you know from your line of work, it's amazing the profound results that you get from doing a soul retrieval. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, the whole concept of the soul is a lot bigger than what humanity knows or even perceives. Generally, what I do for people is just reconnect their soul back up to soul source, reconnect them to their soul, clear out the soul, find all the negative junk in there. All of a sudden, here comes joy. The soul is very necessary. Basically, what it is are you connected to a lower dimensional dark source? Or are you connected to a high vibrational love source? That's really what it boils down to. That soul is very coveted by a lot of the ET, by a lot of the other beings within this universe, multi and trans-dimensional beings, covet our soul because of our manifestation abilities that we can use it with. In the universe, it can be used as currency. It's on the black market of the universe that our souls are very coveted.
Yes, absolutely. And you asked me why we should erase the original imprint. And this goes back into my philosophy with the pharmaceuticals as well. When we have an original imprint, in my experience and in my view, when we have this original point of trauma, if we're not really cleaning out that garbage and we're just sweeping it under the carpet, we're still sourcing from it. The darkness is still there. Now, we might have it suppressed, but we're still sourcing from it on a subconscious. Now, here's my thing with the pharmaceuticals. Now, if we have a point of trauma and we go and we jump on antidepressants, are we still experiencing that trauma on a subconscious level that's creating that loosh or that negative energy food source for a negative ET agenda? I don't know, but it's something more sinister than we think they are, or even pain management medication, because on an etheric level, we're still experiencing and producing that pain, that negative emotion or that loosh, we're just not aware of it in this dimension.
We're doing really good work here. We're making changes within people's energy. People are feeling better. Do we really know what's happening? I mean, I have a really good idea, but there's so many intricate little nuances of what energy is, how it works, how it transfers, how it is moved, that do we really understand it? I really don't think so. And when the day comes that we do understand it, well, I think it's going to be too late. But the loosh, that is a very big concept that I've been working with, and quite often the depression, the anxiety that follows along with it creates fear, creates anger. All of these negative emotions is what creates the loosh for the reptilians, for the aliens to live off of. If you look at people who are addicted to sex, people who frequently go into a room by themselves and pleasure themselves, they are doing this in order to release that energy for the ET agenda. That is a very big concept that I work with, and it's all about who's hungry, who's feeding off you, who are the feeders. When they get into the soul level, they start to suck that chi energy out of you. That's why when you're depressed, you always feel like you just can't get out of bed anymore because your energy is so low.
I totally agree. And going back to what you said in the beginning of that is, you're right. It is a huge concept, and I don't think that we do fully understand it. But I think the work that we're doing is, whatever it is, it's releasing the darkness. And as you said in the intro, it's getting the result. Because once you get that result, that person's hologram is shifted. And so when that person's hologram shifts, all of our holograms benefit.
What is your take on the hologram? I work on the holographic body. I put it in my list of components of the aura, the holographic body. So when you say hologram, for people who might be new to what we're doing, what take on the hologram?
Well, for me, I believe that we are all connected to source. As you said, we are all connected to one. But within that one, and that's our main source, but within that we have, maybe if we're going to take individuals, maybe some individuals that are still stuck in that depression, or the sex addicts, or whatever it may be, with no judgment, because my past is not anything rosy, right? And so when we have someone in that trauma, I believe it affects all of our holograph. It affects our whole consciousness. So I guess I'm kind of equating the hologram to the conscious field of humanity. And I do believe that we all have our personal hologram in how we create the outcome of our day, or how we create the outcome with whatever is thrown at us through problems or issues you might have with somebody on a day-to-day level. How do you change that? But in that change, you shift it for all of us.
You look at a hologram, okay, on let's say holographic paper, you move that thing around and you see dimensions within it. It changes its shape a little bit. It changes its color. Hologram itself can contain, let's say, a whole dimension of information about your body at holographic levels. So there's depth to it, a dimensional concept to the hologram that needs to be addressed. So what I will do sometimes is go into that hologram and go into different dimensional levels of it. And when it starts going into second, first, and lower dimensions, you know that this person is in a very, very low state of energy, and you got to bring them up out of there. So by taking that hologram and raising it up into higher dimensions, it then takes the person out of that quagmire, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I like how you put that. Now, the people that usually come to me are pretty much they're pretty much at a point of desperation, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I honor them because they have tried everything. So I'm usually clearing down into the past, really deep into the past, bringing them up into a more heart-based and up into the crown, dimensional shift. Because when you're operating from those lower levels, there's obviously still that trauma that's still hanging on. So for me to get into those lower levels is very, very common. And as we bring it up, that's when they start to shift it more into the light. And that's when their perception is what I relate also to the hologram starts to shift, because those lower levels are being surfaced up to actually gain wisdom, to see that lower level trauma out of the eyes of the heart. So you have compassion for the perpetrator, or even for yourself, because you put yourself in that position. And I feel like that is a release of the negative energy.
Now, one of the big concepts that I get into, and I'm sure you do, I want to get your take on this, is the past life. Everybody who calls me, they ask me, oh, is it a past life problem? Everybody seems to want the problem to be a past life because they want to hear about it. They want to hear the story. They're very curious as to what happened in a past life that I have a neck injury all the time. I just worked with somebody this morning who has a stenosis in the spinal cord in their cervical vertebrae. And of course, it came up in a past life that this person was hung. So that's where that injury is coming from. It's a mirror or a reflection that's happening in the past life, and it's following her along. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you have a lesson to learn, or you have karmic debt, and that type of thing. What is your take on the whole past life scenario?
I think that's really funny that you brought up a neck issue, because that is my issue, is my neck. And almost every single past life that I've visited, it's been some neck trauma. And I've had all sorts of arrows and whatever, or crystallized energy pulled out of my neck. So I believe I'm adamant about this belief. It definitely bleeds through. And I believe that it bleeds through because it is a karmatic piece. Not that you have to pay back this karma, but you at least have to stop that karmatic wheel by understanding it and forgiving it.
Understanding is learning the lesson. Understanding why it's there is, I think, the cork in the bottle. And once you can put two and two together, and for the most time, you tell somebody what you find, and they go, hey, that resonates. I think I've heard that before, and I understand why my health is this way now because of what happened in the past. Just by bringing it into your consciousness and learning a little bit about it helps to shed it, to forgive that karmic debt.
Yes. And I think, and so I don't think that, oh, you killed, children in your past life, now you have to pay for it now. I believe as long as you're carrying that love that you've understood, or you've shown forgiveness, I believe that you can move forward and stop that wheel of karma. I do believe that, but you definitely need that understanding. And it's funny because a lot of times when you get somebody on that journey, or when, somebody gets into that deeper state and their stuff begins to surface, it's like, it definitely resonates with them. They're like, oh, that makes sense. Or I'm right in alignment with you. Yes, it makes sense. But I feel like we need to bring it to a very, very elementary understanding. We need to simplify it, because a lot of people try to get all into this really deep past, and they try to link it up with all these different things, which, yes, it's all valid and true, but we need to really focus on that forgiveness so you can detach from it.
In the past life, there are stories among stories among stories that you can just keep going through and waste your time and waste the client's time, and they don't have to get into it. What is one of the biggest past life scenarios that you see on an ongoing basis?
I see a lot of people that come to me because, we're going to attract certain clients. I mean, I'm sure your clients have different stories that you can kind of lump together than mine. A lot of my clients kind of did something, they murdered somebody in a past life. Mm-hmm. And so they are dealing with some sort of ailment. It's usually a mental ailment because of something they've done in the past, and they need to release that forgiveness. Or another big thing that I come up with a lot of clients is that they have been murdered. A lot of my female clients have been burned at the stake.
Right. Yes.
So, there's no surprise there. And so it's allowing them to fully step into breaking away from the church or breaking away from the dogma that they've been totally been hammered with in this lifetime, and they're afraid to do it. So by dropping them into the past life, it's always like, I was burned at the stake, or I was, killed in the Crusades. And so clearing that allows them to kind of get their voice and their empowerment back.
How many times do you hear, I think I'm Virgin Mary? Can you verify that? I think I'm Jesus. Can you verify that?
I get a lot of Cleopatras and a lot of Osiris, and it's like, you may be kind of honing in on that soul fragment piece, but, I'm not really sure if you were actually that individual.
A lot of people will venture out and find all kinds of psychics to tell them something they want to hear, and then they hold that in their consciousness, and they can bring on that karma. It can be done. You can manifest that karma into you.
That's the thing. I have a lot of psychic friends, and they're amazing, but I'm very, very careful when I have a lot of people asking me to read them, and it's like, no, I don't read you.
Mm-hmm.
When you come into a session, I facilitate it so you go to your past life. Like, I am walking you hand in hand down to that cellular memory, but you're finding it. I'm not doing it for you. Same thing with the soul retrieval. You're telling me what that soul piece is. And a lot of people don't think that they have the ability to get back there. But somehow, I think because my sessions are so long, somehow together we can facilitate that memory to surface, even if it's in a past life or if it's a repressed memory from this lifetime. We can work to bring it up into the consciousness right here and now so it can be manipulated, toyed with, cleared, whatever it needs to be, understood, forgave.
Now, what type of therapy or what type of modality do you use to go into the soul and do a retrieval? How is it done? What's the process?
So how I do it is, so my training comes from a woman who studied under the four winds. And then I've studied under, different shamanic teachers, but basic foundation of my studies comes from the four winds. So when I get somebody in, we usually don't just drop in to a past life or a soul retrieval. We talk and we track the problem back to this lifetime. Like, how are you feeling? When is the first time you felt that? And I'll regress them back to a point in this lifetime. We'll clear that. Then that allows us to drop in. So when I'm doing the soul retrieval, it's mostly inner child work. So I'll have the person go back to that point of trauma, send everybody out, and then as an adult, they'll go in, get the child, and then I'll shrink them down, the child down quite small, and usually they put it into their heart, and then I'm blowing it into their crown, sealing in that soul piece.
That resonates really highly. Well, we've got a question from the chat. Question for both of us. Can one through their sense of feelings? Can one through their sense of feelings if they are transitioning into a dimensional shift?
Uh-huh.
Am I reading that right?
Yeah, if they are transitioning into, see, that's the way they write it, into a dimensional shift. Then it says, I feel lower levels happen to me lately over today's media. In other words, the media is affecting her.
Oh, well, that absolutely.
Bringing her levels down.
You look at today's media, it's all low-level crap that's being thrown at you, and that's what it's designed to do.
Holly hit it right on the top of the nail. And she turned around and she said she was talking about being depressed. I get that every time I turn on the radio. It's like, and all I hear is Clinton, Trump. I mean, it's like,
The media is so out of control right now.
They're bad. They're very bad.
But something, Chris, have you noticed this? Have you noticed that you'll read one thing in the media, you'll read a story, and then you'll turn around and you'll hear the exact opposite outcome of the same story?
Oh, the polarity within media. That's what they're trying to do is create polarity, create confusion, create distraction.
Right.
They want to polarize the public so that everybody's at each other's throat. The distraction is there so that all these other behind-the-scenes covert activities can be carried out with no media coverage.
Yes, they are. And just look at the Dakota pipelines that they're trying to pass. Yeah. And, they're bringing in, they're pepper spraying the Native Americans, and then all of a sudden the UN is backing them. And it's just like we're getting yanked on our chain, on our leash, literally from left to right. Every time we turn on the radio and it's, or the media of any kind, your news feed, right, whatever it is. And it's unbelievable how it is affecting the masses.
Quite often I'm taking people out of the second dimension, sometimes even the first dimension, which is just low levels of energy. It's not hell. It's just where these lower entities thrive, and they bring you down in there, then they got you in their clutches. If you've got a health issue, if you've got a depression, if you've got anything, you're in a lower level of energy, okay? And you can feel it. You feel heavy, you feel a cloud over you, you feel that you're in a low level of energy. So by doing the clearings and taking you up out of there, and then you go and turn on the TV and go back into that funk again. Okay, if you get caught up in it, if you get polarized by it, it's designed to bring you back down. It's not internet radio whatsoever, of course, Bob, but Fox News, all these news stations, CNN, you name it. Okay, and what they're doing, they are a reptilian type of energy within them that's a controlling bunch of, I'm not going to say it on live radio. What they're doing is keeping you in a low level of energy so you can't go and ascend, you can't go into higher consciousness, so you're no good to them. So they want to keep humanity at a low level, otherwise they don't get that loosh.
Well, when a client comes to me, and I suggest this for anybody listening, and as well as your clients, I tell them, I'm like, do not listen to the news or watch a violent movie for 48 hours. You are not allowed.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, 99% of my clients are like, yes, that's a great idea. On the third day, they may be right back into Fox or CNN. I don't know. But for those 2 days, it's like, please let this set in. Be in this vibration. Be in this new neural pathway, in this new dimensional, perception, and do not collude with any sort of violence or negativity.
You stay out of that programming and your vibration stays high. And a lot of people ask, how can I protect myself, from all these dark energies? How do I protect myself? Well, you have to keep your vibration up. Most people say, well, what does that mean? You want to stay in a happy-go-lucky state where little things don't bother you, where every day is a good day, where your glass is always half full. You want to be in that higher vibration where nothing bothers you, nothing brings you down.
Right. And it's, a lot of people, your audience, a lot of these internet radio audiences are very into disclosure and truth seeking, which is ugly. It is talking about the reptilians and the ET agendas. And, as you were saying, as your intro came on, the attachments with Dulce, New Mexico, and these negative alien forces. And it's like, how do you seek the truth, which I'm all about? I love that stuff. I'm always going to Contact in the Desert every year, and I just saw David Icke, and I love it. But how do you stay in that, finding the truth, and then keep your vibration up? I think that's where people kind of, and it's a balancing act. And for me, I just have to turn it off sometimes. I just have to let it go, totally turn it off when I feel it's getting heavy, and then pay gratitude, be fully engaged with my son, go out in nature, whatever it is to keep my vibration up.
Yeah, what I do is I don't listen to anything or anybody. Okay, everybody asks me, "Oh, have you listened to this? Have you heard that guy? Do you know?" But I says, "No, I don't know anybody." Okay, but I keep myself in my own consciousness. I keep myself in a high vibration because I'm looking to bring people up into a positive scenario. I don't want to be brought down by somebody talking about negative this, negative that, and nothing but bad. I always, try and focus on something that's a positive spin, changing the polarity from a negative to a positive. That's what I'm always trying to do. So there are a lot of people who are extremely educated, people who know a lot about this whole outside the box stuff, this multidimensional stuff. But for me, I like to stay where I am because I know where I am is a place of positive energy and positive outlook. You know what I mean?
I absolutely do. And a lot of my friends and colleagues are just, I feel like I'm always kind of chasing their coattails because I can't believe how much information and how up and up they are on everything. And it's like, I have got to turn it off. I have to turn it off to maintain. And at night, I'll pick a person, somebody in my life, a friend, a family member, and I'll pay them gratitude. I'll just give gratitude and give gratitude for everything around me. And that's what I think we forget to do. The fear sets in and we forget. We would rather look at the war than the secure roof over our head. But we have to remember when we're only looking at war or the starving children, whatever it is, we're also feeding that. Feeding that story.
I will get up in the morning, have a coffee, and watch the CBC News in Canada. It's a very positive spin on things. You still see all the stuff, but not like CNN and RT and Al Jazeera. It's more of a Canadian news network. And I saw a story about some Syrian immigrants who came to Canada. Of course, they can't speak English, but, they've been here for 8 months. Two twin boys are 9 and then an 8-year-old boy. And they went to a hockey game and they're like, I want to play hockey. And it was all about the people, the neighbors with the community getting together and getting them hockey equipment, taking them to the hockey games. The story ended. The interviewer asked one of the kids, why do you think people do this for you? And he said, because they love us. A heartwarming thing that you saw it was on the news.
See, and that is the kind of stuff that needs to go viral.
That's right.
Because people get so caught up in, the Syrians are coming to get us and we can't let in all these refugees. But is what people are forgetting? We took over America from the natives, and people are also forgetting that underneath of it all, we're all human beings. We're all beings of light. And until we can just all love one another, all these other stories that come along, all these attachments, it's a distraction of being able to be that universal expression of divine love.
The whole consciousness shift is all about what I keep getting in my messages is the dove of peace is now coming. The other day it was, I work against Horus. Horus to me is the Antichrist. So I was told that Horus no longer holds the sword of truth. Now Christ holds the sword of truth. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback from Source that things are changing to a more positive role in humanity and this planet. We got a question. What do you think of John of God?
That's really funny. I have been to John of God 4 times.
Okay.
And I know there's always 2 sides of the coin. My experience has been phenomenal every single time. Now, the last time I went to, I like to call him João de Deus, or, his Brazilian name. The last time I went, I found out I was pregnant. And when I go, I've always had Dr. Augusto come through John of God and be my doctor. Well, Dr. Augusto's picture is in my son's ultrasound.
Okay.
So I am very much a fan of John of God. My husband went with me on my third trip down. My husband went with me. He had sleep apnea. He had sleep apnea really bad. He had a psychic surgery, and it's been 10 or 11 years, no sleep apnea. None.
I worked with his photographer once who said, he can't help me. Can you help? As long as your soul is connected in the right direction, there's a good chance it's going to work. For the most part, anybody whose light, whose soul is connected with source and is doing it out of their heart, then those are the people you want to be around.
It was such an amazing experience. Every single experience that I had going down there was so amazing with him, and just the physical changes that you see in people, and the whole, it's just such an experience. I highly recommend it. It is like nothing you'll ever experience, ever. I have actually seen him scrape a blind man's eyeball, with an unsterile kitchen knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy got his vision back. And the best part about it was there was an American or Canadian doctor, I don't remember, down there with a group of doctors to go investigate when I was there. And this doctor was just stammering over himself. He was just like, this is not possible. And this man, literally, I watched him get his eyesight back. I can't even describe what an amazing thing that was to witness.
We've all got stories of success and stories of miracles, and it does happen on a daily basis. To me, when something like that happens, it's like, oh, great, things worked. And the other person's ecstatic, like, whoa, what did you just do to me? It happens every day. Like, John of God does good work, but you got to go to South America and spend the money and then see him that way, right?
Right. And it is expensive.
Yes, it is. My feelings on things is that if you got a severe health problem, you don't have money because you've been spending it all trying to get it fixed, and you can't work. What do you do? So for $70, you can give me a call and we can fix things up a little bit, or you can spend a lot of money and travel somewhere. Now, we got another question. Somebody wants to know, Holly, what do you do to stay at a very high vibration?
Well, I think we both agreed to just kind of unplug and pay gratitude. Just unplug from the media, pay gratitude, give forgiveness. As you said, Chris, you completely stay in your, I don't want to say bubble, but you stay in your own self-created reality. I do the same, and is what I suggest for my clients, which I'm sure you do too, is how my sessions work is you should get a clearing every 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
Because you're going to accumulate. You don't need to come every month. I'm not pro that because I want you liberated, but you're going to get stuff. I'm getting a clearing tomorrow. You're going to get stuff that just kind of comes because you're getting it from other people or your own life or whatever. So just keep up on your clearings, and through that clearing process, you will shift, ascend, expand your consciousness, whatever.
I suggest keep doing clearings. Again, every 3 months is a lot of time. That's perfect. The more clearings you do, the clearer you get. A lot of people say, well, I'll just bring in the light. That doesn't work that way, okay? That's old school philosophy as far as I'm concerned. You have to move something out to bring something in.
I agree with you 100%. And something that I want to say for both of us is, in my experience, when I first started getting clearings, I don't even know why I went back for a second or a third, because when I first started, they made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like this immediate shift. I didn't feel anything. But then after a couple of months, I'd be like, wow, I'm really feeling yucky and depressed, and I need to go back and get a clearing, even though it didn't do anything. It really was. And now when I get clearings, it's more immediate because I've cleared so much.
It's easier to clean a clean house, right?
Yeah, so you have to stay patient with the process.
Absolutely. I get people who do one session say, it didn't work. No, thanks. I go, okay. Be miserable. One thing that I've done is anybody who's negative in my life, and I've taken friends I've known for 30, 40 years and said goodbye. Because every time you see them, it's always bitching and complaining about something. They're always getting a little too drunk, getting inebriated, bringing on a lot of negative energy. And it's just like, you know what? You're negative. Goodbye. I take anything that's negative and either get it out of my life or keep it at a very far distance. Because those are the people that bring you down back into those negative dimensions, just like the TV does, just like the media does. They bring you into those lower dimensions. So you want to stay associated with people who are vibrating pretty much at your own level, or somebody who can boost you up. I play in a band, okay? I play drums in a band, and I find that when the other guys in the band are playing much better, I play much better. When they're playing, having a bad night, I'm having a bad night, because you harmonize with them in certain ways that you do the same thing. So if you're around people that are at a much higher vibration, boom, there goes you right up to the same level.
That is so absolutely true. In fact, the reason why I'm getting a clearing tomorrow is because I was around somebody who was a little too negative, and I let my guard down, and I cannot shake off the energy. I can't do it. And it's affecting so many different things. I just throw up my hands. I'm like, maybe it's just time for a clearing. But
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. You got to love the negative person. Like, you can't really kick them to the curb, but definitely create that distance, because they will bring you down so quickly. And they're attracted to your light as well. So,
Because they can suck on your energy. That's right. They're going to vampire you, suck on your energy, and bring you down.
And they usually have an attachment.
100%, yes. We only got a few minutes left. How can people get a hold of you, Holly, if they want to? How can they book an appointment with you? Research your work?
My website is Sacred Heart Ascension, or you can just do hollymcook.com. I'm Holly Pachamagic on Twitter, PACHAMAGIK. And my phone number should be on my website. Just call me. I do 20-minute free strategy sessions. I'm the kind of person that, hey, let's do a strategy session. If I'm not resonating with you, let me refer you to somebody.
That's commendable. That's commendable. To say, you know what? If it's not working, I will find somebody for you. You know what? That's just professional, Holly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But the last thing I want to do is do a monetary exchange with somebody who's pissed off because they didn't get the result from me, or maybe they wanted to go to a man, or maybe they, whatever. I just didn't resonate with them, which is fine. But if I'm taking somebody's money and they're not resonating, or I'm trying to do a hard sale, it makes all of us look really bad. I don't want to do that.
And that's my philosophy also. We're out of time for tonight, Holly. You know what? We could probably go for another 4 hours. Thank you so much for being on. You are such a breath of fresh air, my dear. Let me tell you.
Oh, thank you. This was so much fun. I didn't know what to expect. You have a fan. I want to archive your stuff. Thank you. This was wonderful.
Tonight, our guest has been Holly M. Cook. Check out our website. Chris, out.